Can you give a overview how the user experience matters to the company?
About the user experience, right? The first and foremost thing from the operation side is to understand the user needs.
How do you manage between your work life and the personal life? And do you really enjoy your work?
See multiple people saying, we should enjoy the work, or like, work culture is something we should develop it in such a way that we should be happy to go to office. यार ऐसा होता नहीं है यार. No, no, I have one regret which Karthik has. One of the previous companies in which Karthik was working, MPL, there it was free beer.
I also had a scenario where I was laid off. So at that point of time, the company didn't think of what my situation is going to be.
Hello everyone. Welcome to series of Tech's Ups and Downs. In this series of episodes, we are going to interact with technical experts and IT professionals. We'll also walk along with their professional journey. In the first episode, we have with us my two close friends who have a decade of experience in enhancing user experience. Let us welcome Mr. Shravan and Mr. Karthik. Hi Karthik. Hi Shravan. Shravan. Hi.
So Karthik, ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಏನಿದು ಮೀಡಿಯಾ? ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್? ಏನ್ರಿ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ? ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದ್
Hi
ಜೈಲ್ ಮಂದಿ
Karthik.
ಏನಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಏನ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ? Sorry guys, I mean like don't get confused like what is happening in this podcast or something like that. This is supposed to be a serious podcast, and thank you so much for your introduction. Suman, it was like overwhelming, and we have Karthik here as well. Hi Karthik, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Shravan. How are you doing?
Okay,
Who's the
yeah, thanks
host
for the
here?
introduction. I think looking forward to talk a bit about the operational topics and all those things, Suman. And I know that you've been planning this for a very long time, and I'm sure that we are going to have some fruitful discussions today. And on some fun as well. Like I gave the introduction, it was like a very drastic changeover of what people were expecting. But yeah, looking
Yeah,
forward to have a fun conversation.
Karthik, welcome to my show. How was your day so far?
yeah. Thank you so much. My day was good so far. So I hope yours was good as well.
Shravan, can you brief us about the operational team?
Yes, right. I mean, there are like different aspects. I have been part of like different companies like MNCs which I worked with. When we talk about operations, and it again comes under which sector are you working in, right? Like in a finance sector as well, there is an operation team, and in a IT sector as well, there is an operation team, and different sectors there are different operational team. So so again, IT sector plays a different kind of role, and in finance sector, it might play a different kind of role. So to be briefing about you on what exactly.
Can you give a overview how the user experience matters to the company?
I think your question itself had the answer, what I would say. Like, as you mentioned that about the user experience, right? The first and foremost thing from the operation side is to understand the user needs. First thing for us would be to understand the user needs. And once that is carried out, that we would do what is in our resource that we can provide to the customer, and we can upfrontly inform them or educate them that which are the scope of work which is under control, and which is the scope of work which is not under our control. For example, user might sometimes have an what do you call, unrealistic expectation which is not in our control, and they might be expecting something like that, and they are not happy with the user experience because we could not provide that. That also plays a very important role. So setting them a clear expectation from the operation side, and carrying out a proper end user communication, that what is our scope of work and what is not our scope of work, which would help us in giving the best user experience. So I think then the user would know exactly. So this is something which had to come from the operation side, which was not delivered on time. And second thing is that how fast we are able to reach out to the users, or we are able to reach out to the customers, how fast we are able to resolve the queries and the issues which they are facing on the daily basis. These are some of the aspects, right? So these are the key factors which plays in a customer experience. And again, as Karthik mentioned, SLA plays a very important role, and we have to set up customers with the right expectation that what would be our SLA, based on which we are going to deliver it to them. So, and again, if we are able to resolve their queries or understand their queries in the first instance, on an immediate basis, that would be the best customer experience one can have. And communication plays a very very important role as well there. You know, like how we put across things, how is a script opening a script, how do we like engage with them, or how do we greet them, how would we thank them, some empathy, sympathy, or things like that. Even if some of the deliverables are not met, if we can communicate it in such a way that it is like um, it will be very soothful for them to understand, and you can deliver it in that way, I think it would be good. That's how it works generally.
Okay. When it comes to the communication, or let us talk about SLA first, then we'll go to the communication part. Karthik,
Mhm.
the SLA, what is SLA for? Can you elaborate on those part, how you are going to report and who is going to look into it?
Yeah, there are like different levels of SLA. So SLA is basically service level agreement, or if you want to put it in a short way, that is just basically you telling someone that you will do something in a particular standard. So if I say, for an example, you have any food delivery app, they will give you a timeline that they are going to deliver it in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. That is basically an SLA between the customer and the company. So similarly, there are company-wise SLAs, like you can take an example of a call center. They will have a SLA of receiving a call within 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Between that, average hold times, or average receiving time, somebody should answer a call, or there could be quality related SLAs as well. So that's how it varies between having within the team or within the company, as well as having with outsiders like customers or with your clients. So that it varies. It has a lot of different aspects to it.
And again, Suman, to add to what Karthik is saying, right, on part of SLA. So where Karthik is coming from and what he's saying is that SLA in terms of delivery of the services, right? When it comes to IT sector, there would be like we can bifurcate that into two categories. That is a response SLA and a resolution SLA. A response SLA is that how soon we would be able to, reach out to the customers. That is what a response. For example, a response SLA for a specific IT services is at 4 hours. So we would be able to reach. We should be able to reach out to the customers within first 4 hours. Whereas the resolution SLA, when we talk in that terms, it is like how soon you would be able to resolve the issue. For example, that might be 24 hours or something like that. So it varies from department to department. And IT sector SLA has these kind of bifurcations. And for example, what Karthik mentioned in food sector, it might be like something different. You know, it's like time bound or something like that.
Okay. Shravan, recently we all might have heard about Microsoft CloudStrike, due to which majority of the company faced downtime. How do you tackle such situation, or how do you ensure business runs smoothly?
Right, CrowdStrike, for example, recently we had that thing, and it is like we had that impact all over the world. And obviously companies will look for the factors like how soon we would be able to get those information. And as soon as we get those information, the major incident team, whichever is there in specific companies, right, how, and we are looking into the readiness, basically like how soon we are ready and what are the kind of workarounds that we would be able to give. I remember like a couple of companies which already had a workaround built before the business even started. So no matter what the issue is, there is always a workaround. How you can run things, and that's basically how it is. Like whenever a major incident, management happens, in instance of CrowdStrike, um, you know. If we can give a workaround to the customer, if we can keep the business running, that is one thing. Second is that what kind of alternatives we have, like what are kind of alternative system which we have, which we can make it work, and we can still have the business. Something like a loaner laptop or something like that. Have you guys heard what a loaner laptop is? So we see how many loaner laptops, which is specifically not assigned to a particular individual. If you want me to brief about it, for example,
Yeah,
if Suman
please.
has a laptop in
We
his company. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Brief about it. We are not aware
Yeah, yeah.
about
So, so let me brief something about a loaner laptop. Now, for example, Suman, you have a laptop which is assigned to you by your company, right? So that is designated under your name, and Karthik has a laptop which is given by his company, which is designated under Karthik's name. And companies will have laptops provided to everybody. And apart from that, companies will also have some loaner laptops, which is like not properly built, but which is ready in backup, for backup purposes. So these kind of loaner laptops, probably they might have a different OS for it, or they might not use the same security level which was used here, and they can try building those laptop and get those things ready. That's first part. And second part is that how soon we can get the workaround ready, and then educate the users, like what are the time frame, how much time would it take for the system to be back up, and all those things faces a critical role, so on.
it was such a good piece of information, and thank you for that. And Karthik, how stressful it is, like when the escalation happens, how stressful it is to handle it.
Well, at when you initially see it, it's obviously a lot of stress, but then uh, in corporate you're sort of prepared for these kind of situations because see, if you ask me, I have now around 10 to 11 years of experience. So in these many years, I've handled a lot of issues. So when you see an issue, you automatically have that thing that how do you try to first gauge what exactly is the issue is. You try to go to the RCA, like you want to get to the bottom of it. You want to know how exactly it has happened, what exactly is happening, and then you find a solution and you try to execute it. So you go in that phase wherein you're not directly deciding something, or you're not trying to solve it immediately, but you're going the whole cycle of knowing the problem and then analyzing it and then taking a decision on solving it.
Okay.
Shravan, what is SME? How do they contribute to the team?
It is the subject matter expert. Like a role of an SME is something where he needs to know in and out of the operations, and in and out of like how the things work in the operation fields, right? Be it the kind of resources that we have, be it the kind of troubleshooting that we do, or be it the kind of SOPs, standard operating procedures that we can build, be it some of the knowledge based documents that we can have, right? And be it some of the process changes that we need to implement on all those things. And during the time of a rollout or time of an update, what are the different things we need to ensure that the team is updated, and all the help desk resources or the IT operations resources are aware of all those things. So these are the kind of things which an SME should be equipped with. And he again, this is the second level of escalation, where the frontliners would be the first people to handle anything. SME would definitely be the second level of escalation, and he would is the person who does the maximum amount of work. A team lead or a manager, they're just the center of attract. I mean, center point where they converge the different teams and converge different resources and things like that. But SME is somebody who has the maximum amount of scope, and who would be doing the maximum amount of work as well. So
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to add to that.
Yeah, go
In
ahead.
the current scenario where the competition is so neck to neck, uh, an SME also has an added responsibility of grooming the people. So you have a team assigned. It's up to you to make them ready to be coming to your level. And by that, what you're also helping yourself is that you are becoming ready to go to the next level. So you are ready to become a team leader. So that is one of the things. And also, uh, suggesting some ideas in terms of improving the process, how you can make the process better, and how that will help the company. That is also something very important for an SME to add on.
Shravan, what is the importance of language in your field? Do client expect you to speak in their accent?
For example, if I can give you an example, I was working in collections in one of the companies before. When I talk about collections, right? So I am working for a company in USA, and we directly collect credit card bills, or like ask them the credit card number. It is completely an ethical process, which is abided by FDCPA or HIPAA laws and things like that. So when we are in a situation like that, maximum amount of the customer, they would expect somebody to contact them who sound familiar to them, right? That is when we try to sound like them and try to adapt their accent and speak like them in fields like that. But now what I'm seeing is that the people in different parts of the world, they kind of understand that the service desk industry or the operation IT help industry, they operate from the part of India and Middle East and some other regions, and they do understand that they would definitely have a neutral accent, or the accent would be different. So the aim is to keep it as neutral as possible. The main expectancy is that both the end user and the service desk representative is able to have a clear understanding of what the communication is happening. And when you step into a higher role, it is always advised to keep the accent as neutral. And if you see the way I'm speaking as well, it is not, I do not speak in a US accent or something. I used to before, and I do have the capability of speaking in a US accent as well. And that's something where I used to do that when I was a frontliner, and I used to be able to talk to them and convince them, and try to do a sales process or different kind of roles. I was able to do that, and effectively as well. But now when we are stepping into a bigger role, it is essential for us to keep it neutral, so that we have a, what do you call, a formidable, what do you say, a formidable look which we put across to the customers. Like, we are not putting across something which we are actually not. That's something which we usually make sure that we adapt to.
Yeah, adding on to it. So also when it comes to accent, the more neutral you have your accent, the better you will be able to put your words or whatever thoughts you have across others. Because the moment you try to speak in a with an accent or in a different way, so you're already putting an effort. So a part of your brain is trying to maintain that accent, so you're not able to give you 100% to the thoughts that you want to put it across. So it's always better to speak in the most natural way. At the same time, your attempt should be to make sure that you lose your accent. Your If you have some regional influence, you have to take that out. That is one of the things with regards to accent. Now, with regards to communication, another thing that I would like to add is the better your communication. So one of the most important area that you have to always work on is your communication. So once your communication improves, that's when you'll be able to confidently speak to others. Whenever you have some ideas, you'll be able to put it across in the right way. Otherwise, a lot of times you're trying to say something, but the other user is perceiving you in a different way. So then your message is broken. So you're not able to pass your message. So that's a very negative point to anyone. So that is the reason why communication uh, plays a very crucial role, and you should improve on it.
Have you guys ever worked with the European client or customer? Often they prefer regional language than English. How do you handle them?
Which clients, I'm sorry?
Europe clients?
Yeah, you should be
European clients,
probably
yeah.
naming the countries. So I get you. When it comes to some of the Spanish customers, they very less, or I wouldn't want to say it in a percentage wise, but there are a lot of Spanish people who are not able to communicate in English. So there are some Germans as well who are not able to communicate in English. It's a normal thing. Like if you come to India, there'll be a lot of people who will be able to speak well in Hindi, but not in English. So it's not just about Europe, but yeah, it is. It can happen, and I mean they are confident, though they do not speak in English. If they are confident about speaking in their own language, But when it comes to India, I see that it's not exactly the same. Those who are speaking in their regional languages, they are sort of hesitated to speak with others. They always feel that they are behind them. So yeah,
Yes. Let me ask you personal question. What do you find most rewarding about your job? I think
What
both
do you
of.
find? What?
What do you find most rewarding about your job? Like, do you enjoy your job or is it stressful for you? How do you manage between your work life and the personal life? And do you really enjoy your work?
This is a really good question, Suman. Which do you enjoy your what you said work life?
Yeah, it may be in
You
terms of
see,
learning, it may be in terms of process, it may be in terms of work culture or
if
environment.
if if there is somebody who is in a corporate field and he is enjoying his work life, I would like you to just make them meet me. I want to meet them and know right. I mean, we see multiple people saying, we should enjoy the work, or work culture is something we should develop it in such a way that we should be happy to go to office. यार ऐसा होता नहीं है यार. That does not exist. Tell me one person who is enjoy. It might be for a very short amount of period when the training is happening or things like that. But obviously, it does not exist. For but I worked in one company or a couple of companies in my initial days where you are not where you do not have an intention of growing there. You only have the intention of just enjoying. There might be few instances where you are enjoying the corporate life or things like that, but except that I don't think this actually is a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Karthik, what about you? Like, how do you manage your work life and the personal life? How, like, do you really enjoy your work or do you do you have any
yeah,
regret about that?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I know
initially
one
when I
regret which
start,
Karthik. No, no, I have one regret which Karthik has. One of the previous companies in which Karthik was working, MPL, there it was free beer. I'm
Oh,
not even
that
lying.
is
It was, yeah. So you have these coffee machines, right, kept in the companies. And one of the previous companies which he was working at that point of time, there was like free beers, and this guy is a complete teetotaler. He does not touch it.
is it
That
legal
is
in
the
India?
main. What is that? Yeah, it is. Well, there
yeah,
are
it
like
is
multiple
legal. It is
companies, right?
legal.
Then every
Yeah.
company should follow this one or opt this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that will impact their own productivity. After a certain point of time, people focus less on the working part and concentrate more on the bar. So yeah, but yeah, going back to your initial question, when I started my career, I was into that phase where I wanted to build a career. So that is the time when the whole balance was completely off. It was more like I was always into work all the time. So I have lost at least sort of 50 to 100 leaves in about 6 or 7 years. So every year I'm just losing my leaves. It's being carried forward and just losing. So and I'm always giving extra 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours on every day. And on the week off, I'm working extra just to ensure that I get promoted or I get to the next level or the work is never impacted and sort of things. But once you you know get the knack of delegating things. That is very important. Once you learn that how you can delegate every task to others within the team, because it's not like there is any particular task which can be done only by you. So you can delegate it. You can ask them to. You can explain them how it is supposed to be done, and then you can go ahead and check like whether it's being done in a correct way or not. So once I started doing that, then I was able to strike a nice balance between my personal life and work life. Also, after a certain amount of years, you get to learn that you should always give both your personal life and your work life same amount of priority. I also had a scenario where I was laid off. So at that point of time, the company didn't think of what my situation is going to be. So yeah,
Okay.
when the company doesn't think of you, it's up to you to not think about the company as well. Not as much as your manager would say to you. Your manager would always say that if you're not there, then the company is not going to move. And at the time of your hike, they would be like, "What have you done in the entire year?" So that's how the company is going to be. That is any company in the world. So yeah, you have to strike the balance between your work life and personal life.
And
Yeah,
adding
that's
to
the
that,
one
someone like,
common.
yeah, so I just was like joking around at the beginning, but I always, as lead, right, as leads, I always try to ensure that people have that freedom and they try and enjoy the work as much as possible. No matter how much hectic the work is, maximum amount of the companies, when you get into a bigger role or things like that, if you're working for 9 to 10 hours, the value added work or the focus oriented work, it is only going to be that 3 hours, or maybe like 7 hours you are just sitting idle and things like that. On that particular 3 hours, what is that best thing that you can put it across, right? And if you are able to give your 100% best and you are able to give your best shot, I'm sure that you are going to excel in that industry. And if you think in that direction, I just need to give it my best shot when ball is in my court. uh, you know that's one way of looking into things.
Okay, understood. If I ask any suggestion, if you would like to give to your associates or the newcomer, what it would be?
Yeah. No. To newcomers, the first thing that they should do whenever they get into any work is try to learn the basic stuff about how you can improve your skills initially whenever you're working, whenever you join a new company, or whenever you start your career. The most important thing is not to just stick to one particular task that you're doing. You should be trying to learn every different skills that you can learn, because that's going to help you in the long run. Because if you see, there are people who have had just one skill and worked for 6 7 years, and they were at the same position for a long time. So first thing is add up as many skills as possible, and try to see. I mean, initially when the company always teaches you in one particular way to see things, that you come in, you do your work, give your best, go back home. That's something that they would say. But at the same time, you have to always think about, while I'm doing all these things, how is it benefiting me? So that is, if you have that thought in your mind, you will automatically have a very successful career. Like your graph will always keep going up. So yeah, and also initially in your career, don't go behind money. So if you just keep what kind of salary I'm getting, and you keep running around behind your salary, then that will affect your on your long run. Because if you keep skills first and try to learn as much as possible in the initial phase, even at a lesser salary, if a company is giving you a lot of exposure and a lot of different variety of things, then do it. And also, initial part of your career, while selecting the domain where you're getting into, try to keep a vision for at least 10 or 15 years on how long this particular industry can sustain and grow. Because if not, if you're joining an outdated kind of a area, or an area that has very limited opportunities, or then you're sort of getting stuck. So the the area which has a wider range, join that, so that gradually, once you have a 6 years experience, 8 years experience and stuff, you'll be getting crazy salaries, and you will have a very wonderful life. So yeah, that's my suggestion to all the newcomers.
No, no,
Trust in your skill, not in company.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, another thing, Suman, I think Karthik, if I may, I think I have a contradictory, view on this. Not
Yeah, yeah,
completely,
go
but a
ahead.
little bit, if I may. So I think Karthik, as you mentioned, that at the initial stage, or do not think much about the money and think about building your skill, right? So that's the approach which I had. Me along with so many other guys who had the approach, just build the skill, don't think about money much. And the people who thought about money and keep jumping and up and down, up and up and down, suddenly we are seeing that that guy is coming here, you know with a Tata Safari or a XUV 700 or something, and I'm just driving a Wagoner still. And then finally we realized, along with building up skills, it is important for us to look at the money aspect as well. And that's when we started growing up. Yeah, I do understand that skill set is really important, and it's really not bad or something, where if we look in terms of the growth in terms of money as well, and we need to understand what's happening in the industry, or things like that, in order for us to reach where we should be in terms of financial growth as well. What do you think?
No, I don't agree with you because see, when you said, if you just focus on money now, if you have different skills and you excel at at least one skill properly, and that industry, that's where I mentioned selecting the industry is important. So if you select the right industry, then there will be definitely growth, and you will definitely come in a Tata Safari.
Well, it's time to wind up our today's episode. Thank you, Shravan and Karthik, for your valuable time and input. Looking forward to do such more interesting and fun-filled episode with you guys.
Okay,
Done.
thank you.
Okay, then see ya. Bye. Now it's time to say goodbye to all my viewers. Stay tuned for fun-filled and interactive videos. Until then, goodbye.